All right, welcome into part two here. So, uh, hold on. I'm okay. Cool. I almost accidentally left the meeting when the message that you're being recorded popped up, and I got my my cursor stuck on there. So, all right, off to a hot start on part two here. But basically, we'll get into the recap in a sec. It was the trade deadline this week. I think we saw more activity than we usually see. I think we're starting to see it more as the years go on. I know when I was a kid, like in high school, everything, especially because it was so early, we saw like nothing. But we're starting to see more now. Um, we had some late last week. Like I know, all right, I guess they were all mostly this week. The Bears kind of had one in, one out situation. Roquan getting dealt to the Ravens, which should shore up their defense for sure. But then also bringing in Chase Claypool, more of a long term move. Maybe get some weapons now for Justin Fields.
Yeah, I got some long term controllable assets. After the whole thing this summer, the ship kind of got sailed on Smith. So yeah, it looks bad.
Yeah,
We traded a basically traded like Roquan for Claypool in a fifth. But if you think about it in the grand scheme of things, with
it
Claypool being
was.
a controlled asset and Smith walking,
Yeah, and Young.
yeah, and
Yeah,
actually weapon for Fields, who seemed to be getting his stuff together the last couple of weeks.
Leader in the clubhouse for 2021 quarterbacks.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say right this very moment he is. Yeah. Um,
Yep.
and then some other moves. Also, the another NFC North NFC North on both ends trade here. Uh, TJ Hawkinson going from Detroit to Minnesota, shoring up there. I think they were saw a stat today. I think they were like 29th in the league as far as like tight end, like either receptions or yards, something like that. So,
Yeah, Smith wasn't really cutting it, and he got placed in IR for 8 to 10 weeks.
mhm.
So
so the one loss Vikings looking to make a move there. Um, Miami making some moves here, adding um wow, but Jeff Wilson, I was like blanking his first name, Jeff Wilson Jr. from San Francisco, and Bradley Chubb from Denver, who's really phoning it in, all in on Mr. Unlimited after a rough start. So Chubb goes from Denver to Miami, and Miami basically, what's the recap now of the trade to go from Trey Lance? It's basically they got
Waddle,
Tyreek, Waddle, um, and Bradley Chubb now, right?
yeah,
So not a bad trade for Trey Lance.
definitely some other picks getting exchanged there, but for the grand scheme,
Yeah,
pretty good. And two receivers for
kind
your
of a highlight. Yeah.
back in the pass rusher,
Yep.
and even
Still on the feet.
getting Wilson, who I was kind of like saying, even with McCaffrey, I mean, we'll talk about his day. Totally get why you get a guy like him. But with Wilson, he was averaging like 5 yards a carry, and now he's got to go to the same system. So it's kind of two. Now they have
That's true. Yeah. McDaniel. Yeah.
in that Chubb deal. Their running back right now is just two guys from the Shanahan McDaniel system back with McDaniel.
Yeah.
So they know the run patterns. So it's just going to be kind of more of the machine that used to happen out there.
Absolutely. And then, so yeah, Dolphins going all in. Like I said, they haven't lost a game that's two is started and completed. So, Dolphins trying to ride the momentum there. Also in the AFC East here, Bills making a move to add a back as well. Jerry O'Connell's one of his favorites, Naheem Hines. So he's joining the Bills there. Should help with them. I mean, I know he's not a top tier starting running back, but can catch passes out of the backfield. Think it could be a good security blanket for Josh Allen. I know their running back situation's not maybe their strong point as good of a team as they are. So I think a good addition to add Hines there.
Yeah, with Singletary kind of being like, like the vet that was getting the most of the touches, Cook kind of being the up and coming guy. Zach Moss was kind of falling out of favor. So if he can trade him in a six to get an upgrade in pass catching sets, because I know I thought Moss was
Yeah.
a pass catching guy, but not really catching passes.
No.
So it's kind of nice to get a safety valve and maybe save Josh Allen to like running for 5 yards. He can dump it off.
Yeah, seriously, let this guy do it. And then finally, I think my favorite trade, just because again this poor guy, done dirty. No, Calvin Ridley. I think just everyone needed a fresh start there. Gets traded from Atlanta to Jacksonville. He'll obviously get to start with them next year since he's suspended for the whole season. But yeah, we'll see what he can do. See if Trevor Lawrence can, in year three, I guess now, make something happen with the new weapon there. But it was just funny because it's like something you probably wasn't on anyone's radar to get traded.
Yeah, and with I think I saw that like the receiver classes up in free agency is nothing special. So just kind of get one
Get
more
ahead of that. Yeah.
kind of between him, aging Marvin Jones, Christian Kirk. It's a pretty good receiving core.
Yeah.
With Urban out of there, it's actually like, okay, Trevor, that's your year.
Come on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, year 3, like we're
Because
seeing with
year 3, you got to start thinking about that 5th-year option. And if he's
mhm.
playing again next year, you might not. We might have to not pick that up.
He's gonna have to have a Tua-esque year. At least how it's gone so far. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it for the big name trades. Again, like I said, more activity than we're maybe used to seeing. So we can go ahead and get into the week 8 recap. A game that, again, I'm going to trivia now, and this is where I'm really, again, that's my new Thursday night thing, of course, and now I'm not catching a lot of these games, at least early on, because of the Prime Video situation, which is really annoying. Just with the whole bars. Again, it's something that didn't bother me when I was like, "Oh, I'll be at home," but now we're doing trivia. But um, it's safe to say the Bucks are dead, at least for now.
Yeah, again, I'm more of just like I always sacrifice the first half of that game, so I tune in the second half, and anything that happened good for Tampa was on the first half. They were just
Mm-hmm.
brutal. I don't know what's going on there. It's like vibes don't see well. Like they're just not playing good football.
Yeah, and then the very next day, I think it is that the divorce news comes through. not a good week to be Tom. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems like that when that, like, I know the Ravens have been struggling too, but it just came down to that. They win that type of game, right? Like they need it. They're facing a team that's almost reeling worse, struggling a lot worse than they are, and they go winning.
Yeah, the Ravens being a good team that hasn't won back-to-back games yet this year really needed to kind of exercise those demons, and with Tampa struggle,
Get that win. So
they
looks frozen mine, so I'm gonna keep talking. Yeah.
basically just saying the Ravens needed that one. Kind of,
Yeah.
it's like they're good, and we know Tampa isn't, so they needed
Yeah.
that to kind of exercise the demons.
Yeah. Especially coming off the week that Cincinnati had, but now seeing what they did this week, it seems like Baltimore still, even if it hasn't been their best year, they're in the driver's seat there in the AFC North to kind of take that home. So good primetime win for them. We did go back across the pond on Saturday morning, a game that was on ESPN Plus, and I was perfectly fine with it.
Yeah, I went to just turn it on as I was like, I slept in, so I was like, I'll turn on the second half. I'll just kind of sit here. And I couldn't find it. And I was texting my friend, and he's like, I can give you my login and stuff. I'm like, I think I'm okay.
Well, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, exactly. I'll read the recap after. Russell Wilson looked not awful in this game. Looked better than Trevor Lawrence, that's for sure. So I guess those in-flight exercises worked out for him, at least. I don't know about his teammates, but yeah, I don't have much to add on that one.
This game was a game that happened.
It is.
Thanks for the London games this year. I'll miss you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
Germany and Mexico left. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, and is it Germany too?
So Germany and Mexico. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear. I thought you just said that we have Mexico. Yeah, I mean Broncos defense is obviously good. Again, maybe less good now with Bradley Chubb on the way out, but yeah, the slightly worse, slightly better team won. So I'd say that's pretty much it. Now getting into the 1:00 slate. I also noticed putting this together, like there's only 2 teams on bye last week, the Chiefs and Chargers. I was like, oh, there's 15 games. It kind of threw me off a bit because now we have 6 this week. So
yeah, 2 4 o'clock games.
Yeah, I don't know how they kind of scheduled this, but whatever. But we'll start with Dallas, Chicago, Cowboys. They went up big early. Then it looks like the Bears were starting to come back a bit. I know Fields had that rushing touchdown, and then Cowboys they pulled away. I think they got it down to like, what was it, like single digits? I think at one point. Yeah.
And then there was that fumble 6 where Fields that really kind of took the air.
Sealed the deal. Yeah.
But yeah, Tony Pollard 3 touchdowns and like 16 carries. I've been saying for like 2-3 years now it's better than Zeke. But again, we might be because we get less of a.
Yeah, Exactly. Yeah, that's true. Again, you start him, you give him the amount of stats, maybe defenses figure him out. But yeah, Zeke out and he shows up yet again. So it's just something with Zeke's contract, man. Like he's still gonna get those carries when he comes back. But yeah, Pollard looked really, really strong on Sunday. And yeah, it's like one that you like. I was like, oh, Bears are coming back. This could be an interesting game. But yeah, Cowboys just pulled away. But really, like I said, if you're a Bears fan, the only thing looking promising is that Fields looks like he's turning a bit of a corner, progressing a bit. I know there's questions if he's the guy or not. I've always been a big Justin Fields fan, so I'm happy to see him. That was actually, I probably even said this last week when I was coming off being at the game. I was happy for Justin Fields despite the loss here in New England. So good to see him doing well. But Bears still get to improve that draft pick, even in seeing good stuff with Justin Fields. So 49-29, I think was the final there. Yeah.
Not a got me. Close to, but not a got me.
Not a got me. All right, what do we have next here? We'll go to the NFC North for a couple games. We had the Dolphins, who they were down big, right? I think there might have been because the Lions got a touchdown, right? And then there was a turnover that went the other way, I think, for 14-0.
Big Hill fumble.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, but then, yeah, Dolphins did their thing.
I think we both threw in the Dolphins, and it just was like they're not 14-0, but I still think they're good, and they were.
Yeah, we had a big day on Sunday, which tells me it's going to be bad this Sunday. Dolphins were able to hold off there. So yeah, again, get like I said, to it. Like, what can you say? He's still having a good year. Like I said, any game he started in and hasn't been concussed in or hasn't missed completely, they've won every game. So it'll be interesting to see now, like if he's able to stay healthy the rest of the year, because I know they've kind of been up and down. Because what was it? 3 wins, 3 losses, now 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so really up and down. They kind of have been going as 2 has been going, but I mean, yeah, you have Hill and Waddle now with your 3rd string quarterback for that they had for a couple of weeks. So yeah, it looks like they kind of just they came out a little flat, but again, really. So what was the final? 31-27. So basically, you spotted them 14 and then 13, 31-13 the rest of the way. So press one for the Dolphins there. Not too much to add on the Lions part. They keep losing these games. Feel bad for my guy Man Campbell, but
might be time.
I hate to admit it. I think he's just gonna go back and be a hell of an assistant coach.
Yeah, just ramp up, fires
up the boys.
Yeah, fire up someone's D line.
Exactly. Would he be D line? I guess he was a tight end, so maybe he'd be more offensive. But
I forgot about that. Yeah.
He seems like he'd be a defensive guy, but I'm like, wait, he was a tight end. I guess he could just do the anti Matt Patricia thing, but and then Minnesota, they were able to hold off the Cardinals. That's another game I think we both had, Mike. 1 p.m. Kirk Cousins continues to roll. I put as the caption here. They win by 8, so able to cover that 4.5 point spread. I was a little worried late when Kyler was running around a bit, especially now that he has his
Hopkins,
big weapon back with Hopkins, who looked like he had a pretty cool Halloween costume. I think he was one of the Simpsons characters, which was great. Sideshow Bob, right? Yeah, I can remember. I was like, I saw it really quick. I'm like, was it Sideshow Bob or Krusty the Clay? Yeah, Sideshow Bob. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this one kind of went back and forth a bit. It got tight. There was a big, what was it? Yeah, but also, what was it? I was getting that and another game confused. Was it this one where they went for 2 and we were almost happy they got it, even though we were?
No,
the other game.
This is a 2 they got that we were happy they missed it because they got the 28-23. Then
yes,
immediately fumbled. They held them to a field goal, 28-26.
And then they got the touchdown to go up.
Yeah, but then it was because of the touchdown because they went 3 and out, punted. Cardinals muffed the punts. So
right. Oh, what was that? Dortch?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they were able to hold on there. There was another game. That's what I was thinking of, which we'll wrap up the 1 o'clock hour with because it was the best. But the New Orleans game, all I have is as we move up to the Minnesota game, they continue to have just 1 loss in the season. So shout out to them. We'll see what happens once we get more of these primetime games. We get primetime Kirk. But going out of the Superdome, yeah, Alvin Kamara was great, and the Raiders did nothing. That's pretty much what I have here is the storyline.
Derek Carr didn't get past midfield.
No, he did not. It took them till like a few minutes left in the game when they'd set him in.
Yeah.
They couldn't get anything going. I mean, even Josh Jacobs coming off his insane week the week before shows you again against Houston what you can do. But
As a Devontae owner, he was crickets.
he did nothing. Yeah, I haven't been elite too. What do you get?
The red zone, it's like Raiders try and get active, and they're like, oh, here comes an end around the Devontae Adams. He couldn't get past the guard until he was getting stood up by a D tackle. And then he got like a screen pass for 3 yards, and that was it.
Yeah, I remembered one reception, 3 yards. That one hurt. Same thing too, because I lost the matchup because I had my 2 running backs in one league in this game. I had Kamara and Jacobs, and I was like, Kamara did so great, and Jacobs, like, I mean, not even fully his fault, but I'm like, if he could have had it remotely as good of a game as last week, I'd have a different story. But 24-0, man. Like, I can't get a read on this team if they're definitely not good, but like if they're like middling or terrible. And
I thought they're going to be fun bad, but that was just sad.
That was just ugly. We didn't see much of this game. We basically just saw Kamara tearing the field up, and that was about it. So yeah, Raiders fall. What's their record now? They're 2-6 or 2-5. They had 2-5. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, I don't know, they have 2 wins. So yeah, they go down. I guess we could have led with this, but I was going on the ESPN order here. Our local squad here was able to get away with a victory. Sure, we'll spend maybe a little more time on this one. But really ugly game, I would say. Not fantastic quarterback play from either side. There are times where Mac looked good, times where Mac looked bad. I think just again that one interception, I kind of won't. The one they threw, I won't blame him too much for. It obviously got tipped, like it goes straight up in the air. I mean, he probably should have seen that coming, but I mean, the reason it got intercepted is because it popped up in the air. It hung there, like a center fielder camping under a fly ball. But really, that one that they got bailed out with that roughing the passer, that's when it was looking really bad there. And that, I think that changed a lot of things about this game and maybe even who was in a quarterback.
Well, yeah, because I had to listen to that part of the radio. So Zoe was just absolutely disgusted at that.
Yeah.
Because they went for it on 4th. And then missed it. He was disgusted then. Then they got one of the interceptions from Wilson. And then Mac threw that pick 6, and Zoe was disgusted again. So I can only really hear this. And it just seemed like, I don't know, between what I could hear and what I even saw from Mac, I didn't really see anything good. Granted, I mean,
he was pretty good in the first half, and then really the first drive out of the second half, he was making good passes for sure. It's just like I feel like he's almost like it works that you have again the god Nick Folk, who's thinking especially this player of the week. This guy's absolute money.
Zach Wilson's was just throwing us into field goal range, and it's like, do you want a touchdown? No, we're fine with field
goal. No, and like so that's the problem. Whether he got left there or he had to go the whole field, Mac pretty much got us into field goal range, and that was it. Like he kept making good passes, but when the field shortened, he couldn't do anything about it. So again, just the one touchdown that they actually got on a 4th down, weirdly enough.
Yeah. 4th and 1.
Yeah. So 5 field goals and a touchdown. Just actually had more touchdowns than the Patriots. But yeah, Zach Wilson was really more of the story. Again, Mac out like what's the word I'm looking for? Like mediocred him. Like Zach Wilson out sucked him basically in this game.
Yeah, I think I heard the joke that both Patriots quarterbacks are just the Mendoza line.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, that's the thing. I do hope at this point that they just again you spent the first round pick on this guy. It's like let him see what he has the rest of the year. I don't want to defend Mac too much, but I've been on his side. But it changed everything because that's the first time I'm like maybe they do need to go to Zappy here because it was that bad. But again, getting bailed out, I'm like, all right, you're getting a second chance here now.
For me, I was like, after last week, I'm like, I don't care if it's 50-0 Jets. I'm like, just keep Mac in.
No, that's what I wanted. It was just like that was just so ugly. Again, they got bailed out. I agree, though. I think they should just stick with him for a while here, see what we have. Just to see if he's the guy or not.
Next, how the Indy bye and Jets goes. Like I believe.
I hope that bye. If he's even remotely hurt, I hope that bye can help him out.
I think like. I guess what I want is that I don't want the same amount of like mid at best over these.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I want either him to make improvements and be like, okay, let's end this, or just bottom out.
Suck and
we just
exactly.
Because like right now we're kind of in purgatory. Because like I was like our cousin was saying he was kind of rooting against it just to get it over with. Like I'll never root against. Like I'm like if we're gonna win, okay, no. Like sure, but yeah, that was just a tough watch. Like I think it'd be. Here at the same setup here, I have a laptop and like the raised up thing and the TV behind. We're always the Pats and the big TV, but man, when you got a couple small bets on the other games, the games like that, you're paying more attention to the Red Zone a little bit because it's a little bit more of a better product.
Yeah. No, it's weird because like, I think it'd be one thing if we had like, I'm trying to think of a good example, like Fitzpatrick, say, was the backup, someone like that. Like I get being like, no, screw it, let's go to this guy, but it's like Zappe's still so unproven, so it's tough to say that.
If we're going against AFC quarterbacks against the Browns, Zappe will be in the Super Bowl this
year. Wait, hold on, repeat that.
Because they're saying after the Browns win, it's like, well, anyone can throw against the Browns, but last year's AFC champion can never beat the Browns.
That's true. Yeah, we'll get to them later on. But yeah, again, Folk kind of saved the day, held them off. Zach Wilson's also weird because he simultaneously makes stupid throws for interceptions, but also I feel like I saw a million plays where he just rolled out and chucked it out of bounds. So it's like he does that a lot, but also still doesn't do it enough, weirdly enough.
Well, I think we definitely saw the absence of
Breece Hall, yeah.
Hall and Tucker, Barrett Tucker.
Yeah.
Your best guard and rookie stint at running back. So there's more pressure to run the ball. I mean, I do love Michael Carter, and he's fine, but he's not
Breece Hall.
Yeah, he's not Breece Hall. And no pass protection or even like ability to run behind Barrett Tucker. That is like that's what kind of made me feel a little better with the Pats going in. So.
Yeah. And then the only thing to add there, that roughing the passer call, it's like one of those things where it's like, yeah, it sucks, but it by the letter of the law, it was. I think it is kind of dumb that it is what it is, but that's the rule. So I think it's just one of those things. I think people are kind of in agreement on that. Like, yeah, I hated it, but it was the right call.
Yeah, as a ticky-tack foul. It was a foul.
But that gets called. Let's see. Last couple ones for 1 o'clock here. Philly staying hot. The team of the World Series, but also staying undefeated. The Battle of Pennsylvania really just kind of whomped the Steelers. And I know I got Big Cat pointed this out because I was thinking the same thing. That hurts to AJ Brown connection. Like they just looked like they were throwing the same pass over and over again. And I was like, nope, this is a brand new touchdown you're seeing. 3 touchdowns for that duo there. But what was that? You can't cover. Probably the most worth it penalty, at least of the weekend, because another one didn't work out too well. But yeah, it was just awesome. I mean, I love Hurts. He's just great, and like that same play over and over again, just seeing it was great. Now they're 7-0.
Yeah, it was
going into Houston.
It was nice for Philly fans just to be like with Pittsburgh and Houston on this right now during the middle of the World Series, being like, all right, the Birds will keep on winning. We don't need to stress out too much.
Just a beat down by the Eagles there. Steelers obviously just down pretty bad right now with their situation, but now Claypool's leaving, so they're headed towards the top pick. We'll see if they get their if Tomlin sticks around, if they move on to their 4th coach in the last 53 years or whatever it is now. Really just an insane run by them if you think about it. 3 coaches since 1969. Absolutely insane. And then finally, the craziest game of the 1 o'clock hour, which again, truly the spirit of the witching hour we saw down in Atlanta, where the Panthers down 6 points. And again, we had what was the line of that 4 for the Falcons, right? Of course, yeah. PJ Walker probably threw, I'm not even kidding, best ball of the season?
If Patrick Mahomes is saying it's the best ball of the season.
That's true, yeah. It was an absolute dime to DJ Moore, like right
62 yards on a dime, like
he didn't have to move. It was like a go route. Like
he rolled out to the left, and then he kind of like centered his body, and then but like as you're doing that, you're moving so fast. There's like kind of a little bit of a back pedal. Like he was as like flat footed as you could be rolling out with like 2 seconds left on the clock in an NFL game.
Yeah. and again, just an insane play to tie it up at 34 pending the extra point. And then we see the whole DJ Moore taking his helmet off, and it wasn't right in the end zone. And really the thing that was crazy about it was, I can't remember who it was. It was one of these. Did you see, like, there was a game in the late window, I think, where a player took his helmet off and they didn't call it. So
I don't know.
Again, could be things like I was talking about with the Jets roughing the passer. Stupid rule, but it's there.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess fair of them to throw it. It sucks in the situation. But let me get this straight. I am not putting the blame on DJ Moore. Because one, he's half of that connection. And I know PJ Walker threw an absolute dime to get it. He caught it. Make your kick. You're in a dome. It's 48 yards. You missed that. It goes to overtime. You get redeemed, or chance of redemption, after Atlanta turns it over. You can walk off field goal from, what was it, 53?
48.
No, the next one.
I have to call it quits tonight due to the personal situation.
Okay, that's fine. Well, we wrapped up the 1 o'clock hour here. Like I said, insane ending. Falcons, Younghoe Koo ends up walking off with it. But yeah, maybe we'll have a quick little session this weekend to wrap this up, and maybe get onto our week 9 picks. If not, we'll just send those in. Final word, RIP Takeoff.
Yes, RIP.
Terrible thing that happened there. But yeah, we'll let Mike tend to his business there. And like I said, maybe we'll hop on this weekend. But otherwise, hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Later, everyone.